this train and equip program really was a long shot to begin with, and I think part of leadership is backing up and saying, hey, if it's not working, we've got to change tactics. You've got to play the hand that's dealt you. Now, on the other hand, this was the first phase. It was just starting, but they were hoping to have 5,000 in the field by the end of this year, and obviously not even going to be close.
$500 million when you think about how much education, healthcare, that is money that could be really doing productive things as opposed to being totally wasted training 4 or 5 or 6 pro-U.S. rebels in Syria.
Well, I don't think it's fair to say that you divide by 5 to 500 million because there's a lot of infrastructure setting up what's supposed to be an ongoing program of training and equipping.
But it's been a disaster.
It hasn't been successful by any measure. And the question is, who's going to fight ISIS in Syria? Iraq, there's a ready-made army. You've got the Iraqis and the Peshmerga, the Kurds. In Syria, they're on the ground. Some Kurds, but by and large, they aren't there. And we all know that you can't win a war with air power.
The IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, they've just said that the first phase of going in to explore this Iranian facility at Parshin, whether or not they did engage in some sort of nuclear capability there, that has been achieved thanks to the Iranians who provided soil samples to the IAEA, and the IAEA says that's good enough. You trust the Iranians to provide the right soil samples to the IAEA as opposed to international inspectors going in there and collecting those soil samples?
No, that's like having athletes provide, their own urine samples. I mean, I don't think that makes sense. On the other hand, I have been in briefings, and I know it's not quite as simple as that. And the IAEA does have verification techniques to assure them that there is integrity to the samples. It's not as easy and simple as, they're going to collect the samples and show them to the IAEA. So, but I'm not at liberty to convey what I've been told.
The story, the AP has the story, says that some of the they have some outside GPS or video cameras or stuff looking at the Iranians who go in there and collect those samples, and that seems to reassure the IAEA. But they also say, at least according to this story, this is the first time ever that the IAEA has allowed a host country to go ahead and collect this kind of material. That there wasn't some sort of nuclear capability.
It's the optimum way to proceed. I think this was some kind of negotiated compromise. But it's important, Wolf, to realize this isn't the ongoing inspection regime. This is the history. This goes back to pre-2004. And the Iranians have sanitized the site. It's been down for, 11 years. But they ought to have more full access. But I think it's important to understand that this isn't part of the future of this agreement, because they are going to have full access.
Senator Kidd, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, good work. Few children face as many obstacles as orphans in North Korea, but a woman who understands their plight better than most is now trying to give them a better future. We have a report. That's coming up next.